Hello, everybody. Hey, I would like to once again welcome to our webinars in Business Central. Let me start sharing my screen. First of all, a long time ago, this Business Central series started, and now we have another meetings. This is the first training for the year, and welcome. So this is at the style the style for our webinars that we do is this is a flexible presentation. I'm just gonna go into the functionality, going to explain you what it does. Presentation that I have will be theoretical, so you can see in first place why do we use sometimes functionality, right? And then later we got to practice. So at any given moment, the good things about the webinars is that we are not under pressure. We can make questions, please, as well. If you want to me, raise your hand or in the chat, use the submitting chat so I can see at any moment your comments and questions that you have while I just start presenting. So now, thank you. Then I will begin now. My presentation now is just related to the sales order promising in Dynamics 365, right? So let me just swap my screen. Good. Now, what is sales order promising? Okay, in Business Central. First of all, when we need to promise to our customers where we're going to be delivering, right? This is a part of a function that we could use, right? Of course, we have other type of add-ons that we use when we want to deliver, because we use InsightWorks add-ons that are allowing us to process inventory in a more reliable way, where we can actually use other software to help us calculate. But internally, when we do standard functions, when we use them, Business Central has its own module to have a basic calculation about when we can deliver based on a warehousing processes and dates according to what we configure, and we help you implementing the following. So basically, the idea is that we configure, for instance, the lead time from your vendor when we purchase, how much we need to prepare our items in order to actually package or pick a pack, blah, 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 and then the lead time, but now for the customer or shipping time, basically. So those are setups that we're going to review, but first we are going to review the key concepts about the functions that were built in the standard Business Central. These concepts are related to the following. As mentioned previously, a company needs to be able to inform their customers of order delivery dates. That's the idea, the date. So based on items known as expected availability, this is important. The availability for us is when we have inventory, right? Business Central can calculate shipment and delivery dates. Ships can be then promised to the customer. So the idea is that when we create a sales order for the first time and we start inputting information, where first we need the customer, then the items to be sold, then at that very moment, we have two basic functions actually to verify how the Business Central calculates information. Available to promise ATP and capable to promise CTP functions are built in are functions that were built in the standard Business Central. Repeating, we as well have in Optimus some add-ons. I might do as well some other presentations or other webinars. So we have barcoding, we have shipping functionalities that we are going to connect with, for instance, with carriers labels, and as well some for logistics as another example. So they are interesting, but those are add-ons that later, of course, we're going to share more information so you can see them working. Now, what is available to promise? Basically, available to promise calculates dates based on the reservation in the inventory availability system, that it performs an availability check of the inventory of the unreserved quantities in the inventory regarding planned production, purchase, transfers, and sales returns. Based on this information, Business Central automatically calculates a delivery date of the customers order because the items are available, either in inventory or on planned receipts. In other words, from where we are going to get items, sometimes from the manufacturing module, sometimes we just purchase, or even sales return and transfer orders. We might not have items near the warehouse where we actually need to ship to any customer, but in another warehouse, we might have the item, and Business Central knows, or if we set it up properly, how much time we need to transfer. Then to a drop ship, in some cases, we can drop ship directly to the customer. Well, you need to know how much. Then when you have the item, Business Central helps you calculate the time, so you then can tell to your customer while you are maybe having negotiations with him, this is the scenario I'm going to show today, and do it in real time. Now, the second function is capable to promise. So capable to promise assumes a what if scenario, where the item is not in our inventory in the warehouses and no order are scheduled. Based on this scenario, Business Central calculates the earliest date that the item can be available, if it is to be produced or just purchased or just transferred. Sorry. So, based on this estimated availability date for the item, Business Central will do the following: calculate the theoretical delivery date to the customer, create planning lines for the item, and reserve the inventory. So the capable promise function includes capacity constraint issues in its calculations and can be integrated with production, scheduling, manufacturing, transfer, purchase, and assembly planning. What it does, what this specific function does is that we have specific setups related to our delivery. Once again, like in this matter, the shipping time, we need to know. So we need to as well make some inputs. Business Central doesn't calculate standard by knowing just your customer address, how long it takes for you to deliver something. It requires specific information, such as your shipping time, your career, or internal logistics. And we are going to review the setups, how they work. Now, after this, it creates automatically for us a reservation planning line. In other words, let me explain you this. We're going to show it, but first, Business Central can reserve items for you from the inventory, right? Or either from incoming documents, or can help us to create, it depends how you manage your inventory, can help us to create a manufacturing or production order from scratch, adding it to the planification of the manufacturing. But guess what? Even purchasing has a, so to speak, and this might be interesting for some of you, planning lines for purchases as well. So to speak, in this matter, this is replenishing. This is replenishing, right? This is basic, the most basic workflow we have inside the replenishing module. But before running the replenishing module, what we do internally is we do a planning line. This is basically what it does. A planning line is going to review, if you don't have availability, actually the dates. So part of the functions we are going to use in the capable to promise. Remember, we have two functions. Before, we spoke about the availability to promise when you have the item. And capable will run some functions in the system from the replenishing or the manufacturing planning functionality. As well, why manufacturing? If you are manufacturing, is a way of replenishing as well. And we have a planification of your manufacturing processes, from the raw material to the routes and machinery that you have add up in the process, how long it takes to prepare an item to have as a finished product. So then it will use the same functions. Now, when we are replenishing, we just need to understand the lead time from your vendor, the inbound warehouse handling time, how long it takes for your warehouse to actually receive and put away the item in the specific bin, or if it's just basic warehousing, or if it's WMS, then as well, how long it takes to actually move from different bins to the pickings on your item. And all that is a planification, right, of time for replenishing in the warehouse, just related to purchases. So part of those functions will be used now inside your sales orders. So you can just click a button, go behind the scene to check those functions for replenishing, so to speak, right? But to different, related to different models, if you are purchasing or if you are manufacturing, and it's just going to take that, not really send it to prepare, but it's just going to prepare a planification line that you can later review when you don't have your item. And this is why this is interesting. It's actually very fast. The exercise is gonna take us no more than 20-30 minutes. So I'm going slow, step by step, as we always do, but to get the actual data from those functions. How it works, and we are gonna see some setups that we need. But let's just take a look at this chart. These are going to be the date calculations. In a sales order promise as well, function, the order processor will gonna then see the time values needed, okay? But he needs to understand what the system does inside. Now, let's say that we have two warehouses, the origin and the destination, right? The standard business central will be working on the first initial shipment date when you are creating your sales order. We have the shipment date, which is basically related to, you need to ask, and I'm going to work today as a sales order processor. I'm going to be making a negotiation with my customer and input the date when he requires the actual item requested in the sales. That's why I'm speaking about the standard function, right? And then plus in this formula, OWHT means outbound warehouse handling time. So with our experience, and when we make an implementation, we might review with you your processes to understand how much, either if you're manufacturing or if you are only reselling items, how much you need to have items in the shipping zone, okay? How much time you need your items. And we are going to make some specific setups just to analyze that part. Then comes the following. The planned shipment date is here when I have this small truck. I actually added the icon of the truck. One thing is the shipment date when we are requiring, okay? And then is the planned shipment date. This is well the shipment date, but plus all those reviews that we do right internally, we are going to check some of these setups inside the system, at least the basic ones, not related to manufacturing. That's more advanced. When we review manufacturing, I can just actually bring some specific information about the delivery. Now, the thing is that the planned shipment date is nevertheless a field that we have in our sales order, even though I have a truck here. That means the planned shipment date, remember, is when I have the items ready, right? Ready, loaded in my truck, how much time, since my sales order is created, the date requested by the customer is the shipment date, and the planned shipment date is after I do all my processes. I want to have those items in my truck, right? And then comes the shipping time. The shipping time is, well, the time that according to the customer address, right, how much time we need actually to transport the items while they are in transit. And as well, this is added to our time to calculate, and then the planned delivery date. The planned delivery date is nothing but when the truck, so to speak, right? Because as I mentioned, we have lots of different types of methods to actually ship, right? And then the planned delivery date we need just to learn that is when we are going to be delivering, and the planned delivery date we can inform the customer. From Business Central, the calculations that the software did for us we need to review that field that is called planned delivery date, and then we can inform immediately to the customer when we are going to actually deliver the item in the customer warehouse, so to speak. So if we understand this basic diagram, then we are going to be able to see all these fields in the sales order. Now, you can as well request this recording so you can study later. Now, the date calculations. If the customer does not request a specific delivery date, the shipment date is set equal to the work date, okay? Shipment date is when the customer requests. And availability is then based on that date. If the item is in inventory, Business Central calculates forward in time to determine when the order can be delivered. That is accomplished by the following formulas. So its shipment date is when the customer requires, plus outbound warehouse is a setup that I do in my warehouse. These formulas I'm going to show you and the setups I'm going to show you right away. Right, the outbound warehouse handling time is a setup that is a field that I set up in my location. My location is a warehouse plus planned shipment plus handling time, and then we get our result. Those are, like I mentioned, those are just the formulations and specific fields required. Part of the webinar is to show you where this information is located so you can configure it as you wish. Now, original shipment date plus shipping time is equal planned delivery date. So that's it, okay? Now, coming back a little, I explained that we have some add-ons related to this specific arrow shipping time that are going to calculate for us the shipping time. Because no matter what we do, we have specific different configurations for each of you in your warehouses, different customers with different addresses, no matter what we do, that we cannot just planify, they will be random. But the shipping time, we have some add-ons like a dynamic shipping and logistics, right, that help us to calculate the shipping time. But for now, I'm going to just get rid and I'm going to focus on the basic functionality without these add-ons, just for you to see at least where you could add a shipping time manually without having those cool add-ons that we have. Okay, so this is another way of saying things. Now, regarding the basic information that we require, at least this is the basic. Remember, shipment date comes from your sales order plus outbound warehouse handling time comes from the location, and then the planned shipment date and shipping time are going to come up in from the customer configuration and the shipping method that we use. Maybe I was just presenting a truck before, but this could be a delivery on the warehouse or port or frontiers and so forth. All right. So we're going to check that, and then we have a planned delivery date. This is the basic information when we do not have manufacturing, when we do not have shipping add-ons, okay? This is the basic standard Business Central. Let's just now jump into the functionality. So if I just actually now open Business Central, the first thing I need to just check are just how many sales orders I actually have for now. I need to complete 29 sales orders. This is a random environment for the day. I never plan how many sales orders I have as a back order. I don't have how many sales quotes I have, okay? This is just part of a regular day when I open, because I do a lot of wholesaling, okay? If you have retail stores, well, or other channels, of course, this figure might be lower, okay? But then what I need to do is just first of all, verify the sales order procedures. I'm going to create then a new sales order. Now I will be having 30 sales orders as a back order for today only. So it's big activity in my warehouse. Now, the first thing we do when we input a sales order is just input. I'm just going to open my sales order with a random customer that is called trade research, okay? Now, the trade research information, this is a customer, and then I'm going to get an address. This is very important for me in this very moment, okay? Now, my company as well, let's just verify a location. Okay, now we have, first of all, the customer is in Chicago. Now, if I just check my location, let me see a random warehouse to use. I have, even I have here. If I have some time, I'm going to as well give you some add-ons for dynamic shipping and logistics. But Meanwhile, I have my location. Let's use the main warehouse, okay? The main warehouse is as well in Chicago, could be used. What else? Another state as well, just to make two exercises. Logistics. So in order to ship from Chicago to Chicago might not be an issue, quite fast, but what if then I use another one that is in Atlanta? Okay, good. Okay, let's just verify two locations. You saw that one customer is in Chicago. This is important. Okay, just keep that in mind. And then, if I want to use the location in the East, it will be located in Atlanta. So if I want to ship from Atlanta to Chicago, well, that would require some more time. But we are going to have one configuration that might be useful for you if you don't have further configurations or add-ons. What we do in the warehouse is just as a plus. This is not part of the sales order promising, but just as a plus. We have some functions in our warehouse that could be enabled because if I, for instance, I'm going to do for today all my operations in one single document, the sales order. But sometimes we don't require our people in the warehouse to see information related like taxes or they don't want to see information related to any customer information, credit limit, a lot of information that comes in your sales order. What we sometimes need to do is separate activities, the sales order for the salespeople and the shipment document only for your warehouse clerk. If you want to have that, then just select require shipment, enable it, and it's going to then work. I'm not going to be able to do so because this warehouse, I already saw that it has some transactions already. But as well, put away so your warehouse can understand if I want to ship something, I need to go to one specific bin, grab, pick it, and then put it. A require pick and bin mandatory. These two require pick and bin mandatory. Sorry, so we do not. I don't help you to go and learn in a bad way. So require pick and bin mandatory. If you want to enable your zones, your bins, we can do so. This is really helpful when we want to go and have more controls with inventory, but as well, so to speak, this could be a bottleneck if you don't have currently the proper people to help you to actually manage those items in the correct bins properly. Now, outbound warehouse handling time. According to my experience in my own warehouse for the East, I require, let's say, 2 days to prepare an item, pick it away, put it in the shipping zone, then later, or put away zone, then move it in, load the different trucks, let's say, right? So at least to have a truck loaded or to put it at least in the shipping zone, so maybe a carrier or another shipping vendor help us, right? Or logistic or external logistic, but in order to have my items from the shipping zone to prepare in the shipping zone to be able to load my transportation system, I require 2 days at least. Okay. Well, in this warehouse, it's very slow. I only have 2 people maybe in this big warehouse for any given reason, right? And inbound warehouse handling time. How many days you require to actually from your vendor is going to then ship your items, is going to put the items in your reception zone, and then I require very 2 complete days to have those items prepared, because this might be as well a manufacturing warehouse, so to speak. So when I check or I ask my a manufacturing manager, I ask him how much time you need to actually put and receive my item, right? Prepare those raw materials, unpack them, put them in the correct bins or repositories if you are pharmaceutical or food or whatever, and get my items ready to be shipped in my warehouse in the correct zone, so I can grab them and then later prepare whatever I need. Okay, inbound warehouse handling time from the purchases and outbound warehouse handling time for sales order or outbound transfer orders, and so forth. This is the first. And then if I just come back to my main location, this is Express. The same will be just one day, okay? Very good. So this warehouse, according to my experience, once again, I as well ask to my warehouse manager, ask to my manufacturing or lean manufacturing manager how much time I need, because this is a new setup that I will be testing today. Very good. And as well, you can enable when you want to use cross-docking, but that's another matter for now. But in this case, we have two warehouses. One warehouse is quite slow and the other one is faster, maybe because one manufacturer manufactures and the other is just for resales. Okay. Now, after I have done this, these are my locations. These are the different warehouses that I have. And now let's just check the trade research information. Now, this is once again my sales order. Let's just verify a little bit about my sales order and what it does. First of all, let me see my license. I have a license issue when I'm not going to be using the real date through our demos. Actually, Microsoft gave us a specific license and it's still in the last year. Okay, I cannot just move to 2022, which I would like. So any random date is November 29th. Okay, so this is today's date in our company, and then when I created a sales order, it actually grabbed the same date, okay, the work date, so to speak, in the order date field. So this is when we create the sales order. Now, let's just start inputting items to see what other information will be then held. But just to complete my, I'm gonna grab any given item. That I remember, okay, Paris chair, I believe it has inventory. Okay, and it will be prepared automatically from the main location. How many units? I don't know, 50 units. Okay, now I'm selling. This is a negotiation that I'm doing. Okay, this is the request from my customer. Hey, just one item, and then what I need to review as a sales order processor. You have this function that where we can just review the availability. Let's just study a little. Availability, okay? In this field, in this area, in our fact box, you can verify the shipment date, okay? We reviewed this before. Shipment date. Shipment date is, so to speak, for now, okay, the initial date for the process, okay? Plus, then we are going to require to review the outbound warehouse handling time. That will be only 1 day, okay? Remember, the main warehouse has 1 day. And then the item availability and available inventory, what is this? Okay, in the very beginning, when I started my day today, I had 1,219 units available inventory. This is, so to speak, for today, how many items I currently have in my warehouse. But anything related to inventory is dynamic because somebody else in another area, not in Atlanta, neither Chicago, maybe I'm actually living in Mexico. I'm creating a sales order in Mexico, all right? So this, while I'm creating all this sales order, then this number is going, the actual inventory is going to be starting it's going to be decreasing, all right? So you can see now that this number is lower because we have in my company 2 or 3 people creating sales order at the same time. And this will be similar to what you have with your POS or if you have stores. So you can see if you click on the item availability, who is actually in this very moment creating or requesting items like I'm doing right now with my sales order. Look at this. I have one sales order that is looking to actually sell 50 units, okay? So that's why from the actual inventory that we have in the very beginning, since, well, the last time a sales order was created in October, right? The last, well, for this theoretical date, last month, somebody created a purchase. Look at this, okay? And this is very cool because now you can see your demand, okay? And now on Monday, Monday, which will be my theoretical day for this work day. Well, I have plenty of sales orders, actually all of them for our data incorporation. So, but anyway, there are just small requests, 5 units, unless this sales order that I'm creating today for 50 units. So pay attention, you have this function, okay? Because the idea is that you can see how many units you are scheduled to be received for this item and the projected availability, because now you understand how then we are just moving. Okay, very cool. So you can see now how this chart works, and I want to check it by view by field. Look at this view by field, and I want to use maybe you use for day, because for me it's more plausible, but sometimes you want to use week buckets so you can see in a more efficient way, because sometimes you are importing items, so to speak. So I will be then for me, it will be easier to work with this manner in weeks, so I can start just checking week by week how many, well, the availability for me. Okay, so that's more or less the idea, how you can actually use the internal functions. As a plus, we have a forecast, but currently I haven't input in a forecast project inventory. Okay, so anyway, what I want to do now is just click and cancel this. Let's verify what happens now if my, once again, order date when I created is a 29th of November, then let's just check and learn some dates that we reviewed in our previous presentation so we can continue studying. Shipment date is today, all right? This is the actual first requirement. Okay, that's good. That's the requirement or customer requirement, but guess what? My main warehouse, which I inputted here, we're reviewing our configurations that, in this demo, the main warehouse requires one date as a outbound warehouse handling time. That's why I need, at least if you want to promise or tell something, or if your customer asks, hey, I need 1 day to prepare your item. Look at this. The planned shipment date, you can inform, I need this day, and for any reason, the first thing you need to explain to your customer, in the shipping zone, my items will be ready 1 day or tomorrow, actually, if we just theoretically place ourselves in this demo, in this actual date, do my licensing, 29th of November. Tomorrow, I'm going to have ready your items to be shipped. The second step you need to do, how then you want to have your item delivered. Because from what I see here, then I still need another 11:30, how many days November has? Only 30. Okay. From the very moment I have my items ready in the shipping zone, I still require today's standard functionality to actually have a delivery on your warehouses or premises. Where do you want me to deliver in your which shipping address do you desire? Remember that I'm doing and I'm having a negotiation with my customer at this very moment. Okay, so now I inform the customer when I have my item ready. Now you can use the default default address, or alternate shipping address is in Chicago. Okay, this is just a setup that you can change because we can add multiple addresses to your customer. Remember that this would be important. Where are you going to be delivering today? So this is an alternate shipping address that the customer requires, so to speak. But if we use the default address, all right, that is as well in Chicago, well, this is the Street 40 area in Saint in Chicago, okay? The postcode and so forth. All this information is the default, maybe the head office, I don't know, of the customer. Now, how do we then promise and why do we require 2 dates? Okay, let's just verify. We are currently delivering to Chicago for a research, 53 East Acton Road. This is the address, okay? So how and from where we get these 2 days that the system is actually just now telling me that I need this time, and the customer is as well asking me why. Okay, All right, let's just verify. This setup is done in the customer address, okay? Now, I'm gonna go back. I know what the system is telling me at this very moment, but in the customer card, we have a customer card from where we get all the customer information. Look at the actual phone address, the phone number, and so forth, all right? All this basic information is here as default address, the head office. Now, if I need and I have negotiations with my customer, he can ask for other delivery the addresses. Okay, so don't worry, we have the functionality. Let's just verify other addresses if he requires that information. And these are the ship to addresses field. Okay, this is very useful. Look at this. They can have deliveries as well in the same Chicago default state, but in another warehouse maybe, and in Miami. Okay, now you can just similarly to me add a ship to address or alternate addresses if your customer needs that. And then the important information here is like here, I am having here, the address is different from the head office, okay? So the contact then might be different, Mr. Noé, right? So where do you want it? Okay, from which warehouse do you want in this address? Okay, since this is in Chicago, I'm gonna require in the main warehouse, okay? From the warehouse main that is as well in Chicago. Okay, let's just then do this part and set the actual warehouse. Then the shipment method is super important now. How are you gonna deliver to this customer? Okay, just, well, since it's in the same state, Chicago, but I'm going to use just a delivery, okay? But it's in, I know, in another country, use another functions delivery, at frontier, delivery, duty paid, I don't know, okay? Now, this is just manual setups that I'm doing. We have some add-ons that help us to automate these parts. Dynamic shipping, when it sees the actual sales or customer address to ship, is going to input information for us. Like, for instance, are you going to use DHL or FedEx or internal logistics, okay, and so forth. But for me, let's say I'm going to use DHL. I'm going to call now DHL. Okay, what are your services? You need to input manually this information in this standard functionality demo. And then let's say I still require the standard delivery for 2 days. Okay, we have the overnight for 1 day, but it might have a price. You need to call then the provider to verify that. And they have this already standard, okay, standardized. So you can ask and see and try to use as well, configure like I'm doing this basic setup, right? For DHL, I can deliver in Chicago from my main warehouse. If you want I can speak with my customer. If you want to Chicago, I just require, okay, let's just add, well, the standard delivery, okay, 2 days. So to speak, this is just an idea. Of course, if I'm in the same state, I could use only 1 day, okay, it's not a problem. And that will be it. Now, sorry, don't forget to input email addresses. This is very important. So the documents that I have sort of like the invoice or what else? Let me complete it's because I'm push my keyboard. 1 second, I cannot input the correct email. There you go. Okay. Okay, so you are understanding the basic setups, but for our webinar today, this is the most important field. The standard delivery or services from DHL requires 2 days, okay? So this is it. This is why the system is going to tell you, now that you have the items in the shipping zone, I will still need, and I'm going to need 2 days to deliver to the required address, okay? And every location that you add from to the as an address from the customer in the customer card requires then the actual, look at this, shipping time, Okay, this is the important thing. Then we could use as well the company. This will be as well sometimes for some of you super important. Then we can edit our calendars. Our calendars, maybe I'm going to be working on the, let's say, maintain this calendar changes. I might not work and let's say on Sundays, okay? You can add all the Sundays as I'm not working, okay? You can use this function to see, I have one national holiday, okay? So the idea is that your calendar can be set up to add, if you click on non-working day, well, you could add here any given day that you are not going to use, okay? So these Sundays, okay? All the Sundays won't be then a part of my calendar of activities, okay? In the company. And your warehouses as well have their own calendar. So you could use the company address because the company calendar, because the company doesn't work on Sundays. But sometimes if you're if your location, I don't know, manages other policies in other countries or in other states, right, where you are located, then you as well in the warehouse have a specific calendar that you can actually customize. Okay, the base calendar code is as well in the main warehouse. So this warehouse doesn't work on Sundays. Okay, so to speak, so you can planify, and this is going to add one day because it's not a working day. Okay, very good. So let's just come back after all this learning process. I know it's a lot of information. Don't worry, please come to the webinar once again when you want. But I just wanted to give you the idea of how it works, okay? So because what this small setup that I have here, when I want to send to Chicago, okay, then the shipping time will be 2 days. And now you know from where you are getting the shipping time. Okay, and the outbound warehouse handling time. Now you know from where you're gonna get these setups that I have here. So while I'm negotiating, I'm gonna tell you, okay, well, from no matter which day I set up for you to have a delivery, anyway gonna need 1 day to prepare your item in the warehouse and 2 days to ship to the actual Chicago address. Okay, but anyway, this is just a suggestion that we have in Business Central, and these dates can be verified here. From the very order date, 11/29 or November 29, I'm going to need 1 day to have my items in the shipping area, and then 2 days, and then to have them in the Chicago customer address. Okay, and this is how it works. When I have items, and you can see the availability here in this area, okay? So what do we do then? Okay, of course, this is not maybe, this might be a specific service that I do, urgent service, that's fine. Now, sometimes, just so to speak, if your customer requires something that, okay, that's fine, but are you sure you can? Are you gonna promise that you're gonna deliver that? It's not a problem. My system can handle it that way. We have other two fields: requested delivery date and promised delivery date. Okay. Now the idea is that you as well could change it. It's not a problem. So you can use the requested delivery date. When do you want it? Okay, I don't know. This was November. So in December, I need it in December. I need my item on December 6th, so to speak. Okay, so if I just do that, if I just change any of these dates, the calculation will be then recalculated because I inserted another date. We saw the earliest delivery date that the system can provide, so you can inform your customer, but you can change the requested delivery date because the customer needs the items in another date. And guess what? Anyway, I'm gonna still need to have the shipment date plus 1 day to have the item prepared, the shipping zone calculated a forward, right? The days that I require. So from the planned delivery date that was December 6th is going to calculate backwards when I need the item to start working. And this specific shipment date is being seen by your warehouse clerk, right? So you can actually, and they have their own KPIs, so they actually grab this item, okay, from the, I don't know, the stocking area or the frozen zone, if it's food or whatever, grab it, pick it and ship it, okay? And do follow these specific dates, okay? So that's the idea. That's the idea. And then let me just, you could even add the promised delivery date, okay? Okay, no matter what, if you request your items at most, you could use the promised delivery date. Then if you don't have for any reason the item on the 6th of December, well, at least promise to have it on the 8th, because I don't work on Sundays, remember? Then have it on the promised delivery date, which has more priority above the requested. The promised delivery date to deliver on Monday. Oh, sorry, this will be, December, of course. It's gonna be 6, well, on Tuesday, okay? So if you don't have it on 6, promise to have it on December the 7th, okay? And this changed once again my lines, okay? So if I want to then deliver my item on December the 7th, then the calculation went backwards. So the warehouse clerk need to start working on December the 3rd, all right? So basically, those are the basic, the very, very basic dates that I need to input, okay? Now, previously it was the 2nd. So I'm going to change once again the promised delivery date to have it as when I was creating this, okay? So if I create the item, then we're going to be calculating then forward the delivery date. Now, we anyway have one specific functions that I want to show. This is the available and capable to promise, okay? This function is located in actions. Then I go to plan, and then I click then in the order promise. This function is going to help me calculate the dates. It's so to speak the same function that I do, but this function, order promising lines, then help me to go inside the replenishing. If I, let's so to speak, in this very moment, maybe I don't have the item, but this item is coming in a purchase order, okay, that is gonna come today, so to speak. Well, when you created your sales order, it just verified the setups that I told you before, okay? Outbound warehouse handling time, and according to the others, well, the shipping time and so forth. But we have other models working. Somebody's replenishing, in other warehouses, other people is purchasing, and as well in my main warehouse, I'm manufacturing items and so forth. I need to make make business to help me verifying with those modules when I can deliver if there's another option, okay? For that, please open this order promising function that I show you and click on available to promise. That is going to verify the previous modules that I explained, purchasing from replenishing and manufacturing. Maybe they have an item today that was not even reported to me or related to these setups, manual setups that I have. So click on available to promise just to verify that everything is okay. So the planned delivery date anyway is the earliest shipment date is as well the same date when I created the sales order. So no changes. Why, once again, am I using the available to promise? I know that I have items, but even though I have my items, tell me if you have manufactured items in the same location where am I, or look at other purchases that are already coming, because the items could be in another warehouses, but I'll need them in the warehouse from where I'm selling, okay? Nothing else. It's very easy. There were no changes from the available to promise in this very moment. I just accept this information, okay? No problem. You don't have to do anything else, okay? So changes were not done. And here, thank you very much. I'm going to just now start shipping. Use your external document number. This is an invoice because I am going to ask about a specific AR processes. I'm going to start them now after I just ship an invoice by customer, all right, for this sales order. I'm not going to post it today. I want to leave it there because it's requiring 50 units that will be just held there. And well, if I just continue, because the lesson today will be for the variables to promise to your customer, but don't forget to review your item availability as well, or planification as well. Let me just show you. I have other options over that order promising. I have my planning. Let's just take a look at the planning function. And so for now, these were just a planification. No planification is okay. I have the item, there are no issues. The shipment day is 29, and I still have 1,164. Next planning date and expected delivery date, okay, according to the plan, is just actually coming, dynamically changing when I just added the address, okay, the address of the customer. If you change the customer address, the plan delivery date might change as well. So that will be the idea. And the other one is the demand overview. The demand overview as well, I already showed you, could be open just to verify how many items are being requested, okay? So this, you can change your start date in the past. So just to see if they're from, let's say, September, previous months, and other sales orders that are required or that are shown here. All the demand from sales, from production, from job, from service, you can see, okay, is this item required by another area, the services? We have this module, and well, for now, there's no problem. I have activated only the sales module, so don't worry. 90% of our customers only work with this, and at most with the stores, but you can see here the actual demand, which is currently only 50 units, okay? Or otherwise, like I mentioned before, the easiest one, and what I always advise to my customers, use the item availability. So you can see the actual demand by date and all the documents that are requiring in this very moment the same item, right? But anyway, we still have enough inventory, so I don't have any worries. That's fine, and I'm going to finish this exercise, okay? With all this big explanation, actually, it's just a matter of learning, but once you do it, you can just complete this in well, a split of a second, okay? Because the system does everything automatically. But my explanation is just about the setups, okay? The setup that you can see, because even when I input the item, this was inserted automatically, so I don't waste time. I just need to understand how this date was calculated. Let's do another exercise, but in this case, I'm gonna input the same item. No, another one that doesn't have a availability, okay? Now, same customer, trade research. Now, the idea is that, let me see one item behind the scene that do not have inventory in my warehouse. Okay, iPhone 1, let me input. So I have this Sydney swivel chakra, okay? And I'm going to now, once again, 50 units, okay? Now this customer is looking for a furniture, okay? So that's fine. Once again, I get the same Chicago shipping address, shipping and billing, okay? For trade research in the 53 East Acton Road, and I will be shipping from my main warehouse that, if you remember, is as well in Chicago, okay? And then the idea is that according to the same setups, okay, same customer, same warehouse, but I don't have the item. That's why I did not pick another address or another customer, so we don't add more complexity. What we are analyzing is just when I don't have the items with the same setups that you saw before, okay? But item availability in this matter is telling me that I'm gonna go under -40. This means that it's very simple. I don't have the item, okay? So according to this, on Monday, November 29, I'm looking to sell 50 units, but I only have that my inventory is our projected available balance. It doesn't matter. Well, it's telling me that it's scheduled to be received. Only 10 units coming from a purchase order. That's the scheduled receipt, okay? So the idea is that in this very moment, I only have 10 units, but I would like my purchasers to help me purchase this item because I'm selling it. And I want to promise to my customer that I will have the item for later in the following days. And I want to understand how long it would take, either if I'm manufacturing it or if I'm just purchasing it to resell it, how long then my company requires to actually supply these 50 units, okay? Very good. That's the idea. And this is what I'm just taking a look at. And let's just verify the dates. Even though I don't have the item, this is still telling me, okay, the same configurations. 1 day as outbound warehouse handling time, then 2 days just to deliver to the customer address, right? But I know that I don't have the inventory, so I cannot even, these basic setups that I have are not functional, okay? That happens when I don't even have the item. So what I would need to do is go to actions and use Business Central to verify if I'm manufacturing or purchasing this item and do the calculations for me. For that, we just go back to the order promising function. Okay. And in this matter, I don't have just the early shipment date, and then the planned delivery date is blank. So this is more giving me the real information that I was looking for, because I don't have a plan if I don't have the item. Basically, that's the idea. That's why these dates in this matter are just blank. So in order to fill them using the calculations that coming from Business Central, click here and capable to promise. And that's it. Like I mentioned, everything is just automated for us, okay? You don't have to do anything else. I'm not gonna go back into the setups explanation so we can just move forward and see. So the earliest shipment date now that I'm adding now the capable to promise function will be that I can actually just deliver on December 11th, okay? Because since I don't have the item, I'm gonna go and purchase it, okay? And my vendor and my warehouse handling time, inbound warehouse handling time require as well, they need some more time to, I need some more time with my team because I now need to purchase the item, locate it in the warehouse, prepare the item, and then put it in the shipping zone, and then adding the shipping time that we review in our customer setups for the customer address. All this is being calculated by the system. Then the only thing that I need to do is just click and accept. Okay, what happened here? Okay, it's good to have at least the dates calculated by the system. Here is my planned delivery date. Okay, I require some more time, by the way, but that's fine. That's fine. This is what I wanted to have. My warehouse clerk should start to work, if everything goes fine, on December the 8th. So he has the items ready in the following date, and after the dates, my customer will receive this. But since maybe my purchaser is not being yet notified about this urgency, because now this is urgent, I have promised and I can negotiate with my customer, okay, I have this, your items. Remember, this is more related to wholesaling, okay? This is not always retail and stores, right, or online. For those, well, we have, and we use other add-ons, so don't confuse that, because this function is inside the Salesforce in Business Central. I'm explaining this because this has to make a reservation. What is a reservation? No matter what, these 50 units that I'm requesting now will be seen by your purchasing processors. I'm gonna, let me just, actually, not just going to leave it that, but the communication while I'm just selling is to the customer. I'm going to have the items in the specific date calculated by the system. Don't worry, I'm just going to follow up with my team to have your items in place, okay? The correct date. So how it happens, I need to have communications with my purchasing team in this very moment, and that's done through the reserve quantity. This field was automatically filled by the system. I'm just going to click on 50. And it has done actually some reservations. First of all, one reservations for the 10 units that I already had. Okay, I already had 10 units, but minus 40 in a second line is doing this in the requisition line. Once again, I'm looking to sell 50 units. I have in my system, in my warehouse already 10 units, and this is just in the item ledger entry being reserved. This is a table where I know where I manage my items, right? The item ledger entry. So I will reserve those items. The warehouse clerk is going to reserve that. We have some procedures to reserve items, by the way. When we see warehouses procedures, I can explain you as well. We actually have different webinars related to that. And as well, the replenishing processes have as well another part. We are not even replenishing actually with very advanced functions and with third-party software calculating statistical information. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, this is just a direct request. If you have stores as well, this is like a store request for inventory. Call your purchaser and tell them that you need this item, yes or yes. And that's basically what this information means. This is a reservation, okay? So if I could, in this very moment, cancel, because if the customer somehow tells me, no, maybe this is not good, I don't like it, maybe I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna call you when you have the items, okay? But anyway, I want to purchase either. If this is going to be canceled, cancel from here, cancel your reservation. Otherwise, if you want to continue with this and your customer accepts this, then let's go to the requisition line. I'm gonna click here. And what it does is just going to prepare for me the actual requisition for the item. And I'm going to open what we call the actual requisition worksheet, okay? So we can train your purchasers to actually use not only the purchase orders, but the planning worksheet. Because here, anybody in your company can input information, specifically now the sales order processor, because this is our demand, okay? But anyway, maybe somebody, the same sales order processor can call to your offices, headquarters, and look for paper, I don't know, any device, electronic device that needs to be purchased for the accountant or software, anything, okay? And now here I have a purchase requisition for the item, okay, into the main warehouse to be received, okay, at most on this date. And I need it in this specific time at most at night. I need this item in my warehouse, yes or yes. So your purchaser can see when they need to have this purchase and these items in the warehouse. I can continue and I can actually do the delivery on time. Okay, so now this is the responsibility of the purchaser, and I'm going to look to have 40 units because I already have 10. Everything done automatically. So I want to overcomplicate now this study. Okay, now this will be only for purchasing. This is not the actual replenishing module. The entire replenishing module verify other, maybe the stock levels and other criteria, right? But this is just the actual requisition, the stock request to my this item on this specific date, right? And this is the critical point why we sometimes use these functions, because it can help to have communications with our purchasers. And this was only one item, right? But actually our sales orders sometimes have, I don't know, dozens of lines, and everything can be automatically done. And as long as we know which vendor we have, well, your purchaser does those setups, they know from which vendor this item comes from, and I'm just going to just carry out the message to see how did your purchaser actually could create and create your purchase order. So yeah, show a first error, make purchase order, that's fine. We can make purchase order and print them as well, okay, if you want to. If we have manufacturing, we can use assembly orders, or you can transfer from other warehouse, okay, if you see that you have availability. It's not a problem. This is going to help us now to actually have communications with other areas. And I'm just gonna click OK, because the people see the planning worksheet, okay? Your purchasers or your warehouse clerk can see the planning worksheet. So remember that, okay? But just for now, just to finish, if we don't have further questions, I'm just going to open my purchase orders, right? And this function, the planning worksheet, is related to replenishing. Yes, they actually use those, but with more parameters. Actually, what I was about to say, they actually verify stock levels, how to handle. They need to ask the warehouse the unit of measures. They purchase in boxes, but then they break the bulk into units, and they need to transfer to stores, and so forth and so forth and so forth. That's really a replenishing, right? But for now, the request, at least just for this lesson, help me to notify the customer, the purchaser, and the purchaser with just one click, and maybe he just need to call me. Hey, do you really need this? Because I have received a requisition from a sales order that you require 40 units, okay? And the thing here is that they have as well their own planification procedures, and they need to have this item in the reception area in December the 7th, okay? And then my warehouse clerk requires 1 day to prepare the item, put it away, package it, I don't know, and then have it in the area, so I can then just prepare it. And this has, by the way, as you saw, this item was actually reserved for a sales order. So I won't be able, I shouldn't use those items to sell them, to use them internally in the company, nothing. You can see in every purchase order the actual reservations for specific items. And the recommendation here, just to finalize, is that in our warehouses, we recommend when we make an implementation to, if you start, this is the very beginning of inventory management, right? In your warehouse, we recommend that at least if you don't use advanced warehouse functions, well, if your warehouses are basic, you can start by using reservations, and is open one area. So when your warehouse clerk, we train them to use the reservation functions. So they reserve and put these 40 items in one specific area, because we have two documents, a purchase document and a sales order that are actually linked. And even though I'm in the end of the chain, just making negotiations with the customer, but at least now I can have some more coordination with my team internally, and all of us, if we have the correct training, if you ask us, we can help you with that. This is just a simple function. This is just the most basic way of promising sales to your customers. But remember, just to finish as a final conclusion, we as well have some other add-ons. Dynamic shipping helps us to actually integrate carrier information from a provider to have connection with DHL, FedEx, or other services. Now, this could be as well integrated with internal logistics. If you manage your own logistics, your own trucks, your own motorcycles, or even people actually going with visiting the customers, right? We as well can manage the delivery. Your truck drivers can have their own tablet to complete the deliveries, and we can follow up those deliveries with those add-ons. Once again, for carriers with dynamic shipping and logistics, when we have internal logistics, so we can follow up where are our packages or our trucks were at any given moment as well. But everything is then in the end an add-on, so not review it in this webinar. This is it for today. This was the class that remember, we have the two functions. The capable to promise when we don't have inventory is going to verify all the previous information with the reservations and everything that I did is in our sales order. It's just one button, use it, and available to promise. Well, when you have your inventory, well, at least you can use Business Central to tell you, well, more or less when you can you deliver your items to your customers. Okay, so that will be the lesson for today.